Hi and welcome to the Cloaked Hedgehog's YouTube channel. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my Dogman map. It has taken an awful long time to gather all of those encounters in one map. I would say about 4-5 years. And there are over 500 sightings now. And I keep adding to it whenever I hear about a new sighting, so it's a work in progress. And you're free to use the map for personal use to educate yourself about the Dogman situation in the world. I'm going to be reading a few encounters from certain areas, and I'm going to start today with Canada. No, Canucks, you're not safe from the Dogman. Yes, there are much fewer sightings in Canada than in the US, but then again, large areas of Canada are pretty much uninhabited, which may have something to do with that. Let's hear about some of the sightings in Canada. We'll start off on the west coast. I live in an area of North Vancouver, British Columbia, called Lynn Valley. It's very beautiful and runs into a lot of wooded areas before sloping up into the big mountains in this area. It's quite typical to have issues with bears and other wildlife getting into your trash, so the bins are always closed very securely. This following experience happened about 3 weeks ago, and we're still spooked and trying to figure out what it was. Our garbage cans are visible to us from the family room windows at the back of the house and to the left. This is because of the position of our garage and the gate to the front. It was about 11:30 p.m. and my husband and I were still watching TV before going upstairs. All of a sudden, we heard some loud thumping against a plastic garbage bin and the house. We figured a bear had gotten over our fence again. We peeked out of our curtains together, and we were shocked at what we saw. The thing stood on hind legs and had dark, shaggy fur, but it definitely wasn't a bear. It looked muscular and skinnier, and had a snout like a coyote or wolf. It ripped through our garbage, I think for the salmon bones and carcass in there. It was grunting and growling quite a bit. We were completely petrified at the window. I wanted to look away, but at the same time I was morbidly fascinated at what I was looking at. After about another minute or so, the thing ran to the back of our yard and jumped over the fence. I guess it was a werewolf. What else could it be? I just hope it finds its dinner elsewhere from now on. Next we'll hear about an encounter in Northwestern Canada. First of all, I will tell you that when this sighting took place, I was 12, I'm now 20, and that I lived in a very small coal mining town in northwestern Canada. It all began when two friends and I were walking around a rodeo ground right next to a large cut line. It was around 4 p.m. in July. There was no wind and little noise. We were a little closer to the cut line than we usually would have been when all three of us at the same time turned around and saw something rather strange. I will describe this creature as being quite tall, maybe around 8 to 9 feet. I have no idea how much it weighed. That is pretty hard to judge. I would guess the same mass as a good-sized bull moose. But the thing that truly impacted me and changed my life forever was its legs. 2 legs only, and built with the same framework as a dog, but much larger. Another thing I will never forget is how fast it moved. The clearing was about 80 to 100 feet wide, and I only saw this creature for about 3 seconds, and the gracefulness of its strides was something unmatched by any other 2-legged animal I've seen, including humans. Now, a lot of people say that werewolves are gray. No, not true. This thing was pitch black, completely black, no streaks, and had a head like a wolf, only wider and a bit longer, and on its head sat 2 very hairy, pointy ears. I can also tell you that it wasn't particularly fat. It looked quite lean. Another thing that, sadly, I still have dreams about is the sound it made. As it was striding, it looked right at us and made a very deep grunt or growl, at which point my friends and I ran as fast as we could back to my friend's house, which was nearby, only 400 meters or so. This next encounter comes from Strathcona County, outside Edmonton, Alberta. I live on an acreage, and to get home I have to drive down the main road, past farms, subdivisions, and other acreages. It was a month and a half ago, in August, that I was driving home from work at midnight. In one of the ditches, when I was maybe 500 meters away, my high beams illuminated a wolf's head and eyes. It was moving slightly, as though it was eating something or sniffing for something, but my lights didn't show me what. We have coyotes out here where we live, and everyone has dogs, but the coyotes are too cowardly to be that close to the road, and few people let their dogs roam loose at night. Most importantly, it was too big for a coyote or a dog. It was even too big for a wolf. It looked like the size of a small bear. As I got closer to it, it stood up to about the height of a man, maybe a little taller, and moved towards me. At this point, I passed it at 100 kilometers an hour and I didn't look back, too scared to try and think about what it really was. This sighting was only about 3 kilometers from my house, so I noped inside the moment I pulled into the driveway. I'm fully convinced I saw a werewolf. The location was in the middle of Alberta in Strathcona County, which is east of Edmonton. Now we're going to hear about a sighting in Burlington, southwest of Toronto. Back in 92 or 93, my mother was driving my brother and I home from school in Oakville. We had just moved to Burlington and settled in the Heathen Forest community. We were driving along Upper Middle Road, back when it was still mostly farmers' fields and forests up there. It was approximately 4 p.m. on a bright sunny June day. There was this old house in bad repair along there, and it was just off the side of the driveway that I noticed something big and black and weird looking. It was maybe 100 feet, not meters, away from us. It looked like a very large wolf. It was standing in a funny way. Its front legs were up, as if its front paws were on a large rock. There was tall grass where it was standing, so I couldn't see why it looked that way, only that it did. I exclaimed to my mom, "What's that?" and pointed. She slowed the car down to look. The wolf's head kept pace with the car, watching us. I swear it wasn't seeing the car, but it was looking at us in the car. We couldn't get over the sheer size of this thing. It was about the size of a large black bear, but very much wolf or dog-like in its head. It had long black grayish fur. It wasn't in the shadows. We were seeing it clearly. My mom said it was a large wolf, but we were in the city, and this was just crazy. We all had goosebumps from looking at it, looking at us. The whole encounter was maybe 10-15 seconds long, but we were really scared. It looked like it was thinking about charging us, sort of mid-pounds. My mom started driving faster and didn't stop until we were home. Not bothering to do the groceries after all, she was really shaken up. After that, my mom refused to drive along Upper Middle Road for nearly a month. This last encounter I'm going to talk about today comes from Quebec. An old friend and I saw a dogman in the Centre Écologique Fernand-Séguin in Châteauguay in Quebec, Canada. The year was the summer of 2008, if my memory is correct. During a late evening hike with my friend in the park, like around 9-10 p.m., we began to get followed by an animal who acted very weird, emitting some kind of dog sounds. When we returned to the entrance of the park, this thing had cleverly followed us at the edge of the woods to avoid the light at the entrance of the park. We couldn't see it. It was like he knew we couldn't see anything at night and that light would reveal it. When we were running back to the parking area, my friend and I entered the car in a hurry. When he ignited the car, my friend saw the face of the beast 2-3 meters from the window, standing on 2 feet, staring at him with a creepy grin. My friend is a very tough guy normally, and he knows the forest very well. He has seen lots of predators in the past, etc. It was the first time I saw him terrified like that. A couple of days ago, his father saw a muscular and massive black dog in Léry, a small town near Châteauguay, and around their little cabin in the woods close to a marsh. The creature had large shoulders, and it confronted the father of my friend by staring at him from a distance of 5-6 meters. The moment the father of my friend tried to reach for a kind of spear weapon to confront it, the creature ran away into the marsh very fast and never came back. His father never told us about his story until we talked about our encounter. So maybe it was the same beast living in this area, or another one. We will never truly know. To learn more about Canadian Dogman sightings, go to the map which I have linked to in the description. To report a sighting, please contact me at cloakedhedgehog@gmail.com. I intend to read more encounters, so feel free to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss anything. Be safe, and I'll see you next time.